So I was using Claude the other day, kind of the same workflow I always run, and I hit my rate limit a lot faster, like noticeably faster. And at first I thought it was just me. Then I started seeing it everywhere. X, Reddit, developer forums, Facebook, people saying the same thing. Claude feels off, they're hitting rate limits faster than ever before, and they're getting locked out mid-workflow. Now, I help businesses plug AI into their systems, and I do this stuff pretty much all day. So when something shifts with one of these tools, it becomes very noticeable. And so it felt big enough to actually do some research and kind of dive into what is taking place, because this has never happened before. And honestly, what I found was much worse than I expected. So let me walk you through the entire thing, because I've done a lot of research on this, and let's first start with probably the biggest headache right now, which is usage limits. So we have Ken from the AI economy, and it's important to note what he is saying. So the more I think about it, the more I see rate limit toggling by Anthropic, and it appears as similar to the era before unlimited talk, text, and data on our smartphones. Back then, we scrambled to tell people to contact us outside peak hours so we wouldn't use all of our allotted monthly minutes. So again, you are not crazy. This is a real thing, and I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do. Rather, it's about users complaining that the company's rate limit policy is too aggressive and a bug may be to blame. We're gonna talk about that very shortly here. But more importantly, people on X claim that they found themselves in a 4-hour cooldown jail, myself included, after simply typing hello Claude. Now, I wasn't in jail due to the hello Claude, but I definitely was using the same workflow, and it felt like within minutes, really, I was in obviously the 4-hour jail. Similarly, another user posted on Reddit that the AI chatbot consumed 13% of their entire session just for hello. Now, it's important to note what Claude usage limits really are. Now, this is by JD Hodges. And you can even just look at this through Anthropic's Help Center. It breaks it down into 2 types. Usage limits cap how many messages you can send with a rolling window, roughly 5 hours. You can go in your settings and you can go under usage, and you can kind of see how much of that 5 hours you've really used up. When you hit the cap, you're locked out until the window resets. The exact number of messages varies by model, conversation length, and how many tools Claude uses per response. Length limits cap how long a single conversation can get. And I've been actually hitting those limits now. So essentially, long threads cost more because Claude processes the entire conversation history with every message. A 100-message thread is dramatically more expensive per response than a fresh chat. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe the $200 month plan here costs Anthropic about $5,000. The only way this scales currently is through the funding that they're acquiring. Without the funding, they don't have the ability to scale these plans. It costs too much. So for instance, for the free plan, limited message tighter during peak hours. Pro is a 5x free tier, essentially. Max is 5x the pro limits. And then the max 20x is 20x the pro limits. So one detail, as they write about here, is most people miss essentially that usage counts across all services. So messages on Claude AI, Claude Code, and Claude Desktop all draw from the same pool. So essentially, it's just like getting a paycheck. You only have a certain amount of money you can spend, and it doesn't matter what you're spending it on, you only have so much of it. And that's why tokens are going to become so valuable in the AI economy and the AI society, because you're going to have tokens. Like, we're going to start referring to things as tokens. How many tokens does that cost? X, Y, and Z. So you have to now start learning how to properly preserve your tokens, whether that is, again, with the models, whether that is just certain techniques, or avoiding peak hours, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. So why limits feel worse right now? This is important because I think a lot of people are experiencing this thing right now where they're like, Claude just isn't the person I met about a month ago. This really just happened within the last few weeks, it seems like. What is really taking place is that demand outran available GPU capacity. You have to understand why that occurred. So millions of new users arrived after OpenAI signed a Pentagon contract in late February. If you remember that was kind of some controversy taking place. I know Claude obviously lost their contract with the Pentagon, and then OpenAI came in essentially and took it. So ChatGPT uninstalls spiked 295% in a single day, which is absolutely insane. The Quit ChatGPT movement claimed 2.5 million participants. Claude hit #1 on the App Store, as we know, for the first time, surpassing ChatGPT in daily downloads. Anthropic's web traffic jumped over 30% month over month. Anthropic's annualized revenue surged to $19 billion by March 2026. We're going to talk about the numbers later on. But inference costs scale with every user, every message, every long conversation. So if you recall, These cost a lot of money, right? Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the $200 a month plan, let's just say it costs Anthropic a few $1,000s to pretty much run. Imagine you just had an influx of so many people. Yes, your revenue increases, but more importantly, the inference costs scale with every user, every message, every long conversation. As he says, Anthropic isn't being stingy. This is kind of just the name of the game, essentially where we are right now with the world of AI. You can sign up 100,000 new subscribers overnight. You cannot add 100,000 GPUs worth of inference capacity overnight. And that's one thing right now where the main bottleneck is just GPUs. No one's got the chips. And that's why Elon Musk is, now building infrastructure out. So when demand jumps faster than compute supply, the gap has to show up somewhere. Slower responses, lower quality, or tighter limits. Anthropic did a promotion. Okay, so the off-peak promotion is ending. Anthropic ran a promotion through March 28th, doubling usage limits during off-peak hours. And so what happened was that while this promotion was taking place, one of the engineers at Claude commented and said, we're reducing usage during peak hours. So you really didn't feel it. Okay, that's why everyone was kind of just building for building's sake and using all these tokens. No one really felt it because the promotion was going on, and the promotion ended. And then also people are saying that there is a bit of a bug. So since March 23rd, max subscribers report usage meters jumping from 52% to 91% on a single prompt. Absolutely brutal. This wasn't happening before. So it could be the prompt caching bug, which caused similar drain. But there obviously are a lot of things factoring into this. Now, again, it's important to understand how to preserve your tokens. So as they write here, what burns through your quota the fastest, it's important to note this, every message in a thread gets reprocessed as context. Message 50 in a conversation costs dramatically more than message number 1. And I've even been hitting errors that say the conversation is too long now, start a new chat. And I was getting that a few times, and so this is essentially why. Tool use is another big one. So web search, code execution, file analysis, and connected services, Gmail, Google Drive, MCP servers, all consume additional tokens. One big thing is cowork, right? Cowork tremendously eats up your tokens, so you have to be careful about how you're using it. If you are using computer use or the browser, again, that's going to further increase your tokens usage. So you have to be careful, and really you have to start prioritizing what tasks need to be done, what tasks can you now do manually again if you don't want to be in essentially the jail. And then we do have attached files and images. Every file or image you upload gets processed as part of the conversation context. Large PDFs or multiple screenshots add up fast. And then we do kind of have, I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest token consumption use cases, which is the open tier models. So if you are using 4.6, I pretty much use that across the board. Now I am changing that to involve more of a sonnet type hybrid approach. So more capable models cost more per message. If you're using Claude Opus for a task that Sonnet could handle, you're paying a premium in quota. So now you have to start utilizing the models, and it's a bit of a dance to understand which task requires which model. So how to make Claude last longer? You need to start a new chat when you switch topics. Front load your context is a big one. So instead of 5 messages building up to your actual question, use projects for recurring work, turn off tools you're not using, and then use multiple AI models, as I alluded to earlier. And then this is the big one, enable extra usage if lockouts cost you more than over usages. Okay, so majority of the population probably don't need to enable usages, but if you're in Claude Code, and again, the lockouts cost you more. So if you're trying to do client work, or if you're trying to get a project done or have a deadline, for instance, the lockouts are probably going to cost you more than actually just enabling extra usage. Okay, so Anthropic's pay-as-you-go overflow lets you set a spending cap so it doesn't run away. So we do have a Tech Radar article here, and they say that Anthropic says to manage growing demand for Claude, we're adjusting our 5-hour session limits for free Pro Max subs during peak hours. This is the message here. To manage growing demand for Claude, we're adjusting our 5-hour session limits for free Pro Max subs during peak hours. And again, I believe the promotion was going on when this came out. So again, you didn't really feel it. So around 7% of users are affected. So they go on to say here, if you're in a specific time zone, you might want to use Claude mainly from the late morning onwards if you don't burn through your message allowance. Users in GMT time, you're best avoiding the afternoon and early evenings, right? So now you have to kind of plan around when you're going to use these models. Then we have another article here from Tech Radar, And there just seems to be a lot of bugs potentially taking place. Claude was having some problems again, as they stated by Jacob here. So if you had issues getting Claude to respond to queries on desktop or mobile, it wasn't just you. This was one thing I was personally myself dealing with. I was trying to chat with Anthropic's popular AI assistant yesterday morning and was seeing the orange sun icon, aka Claude's thinking sign, or being presented with a "this isn't working right now, you can try again later." I was having this exact same issue quite frequently, and what I had to do was just keep pressing the send button, and eventually it started working, but I was having a lot of issues. It was quite intermittent at times, eventually answering a query, but it was enough of an issue that Anthropic has confirmed elevated errors on Claude AI currently. Then on top of all that, we obviously had the source code leak, right? So it leaked very important information, and this obviously just puts gasoline on the current fire. So they say no sensitive customer data or credentials were involved or exposed. Anthropic spokesperson said in a statement shared with NBC News. The discovery came after the AI upstart released version 2.188 of the Claude Code NPM package, with users spotting that it contained a source map file that could be used to access Claude Code's source code. It gives software developers and Anthropic's competitors a blueprint for how the popular coding tool works. So as you can tell, Anthropic definitely has a lot going on. You're not crazy. It's not just you. A lot of people are experiencing these issues currently. But as always, I'm here to keep you up with the latest and greatest on all things AI. So if you found value, subscribe. The best case scenario, you are up to date and you are learning the best technology ever in human history. Worst case scenario, you unsubscribe in the next 5 seconds, 5 weeks. It's totally fine with me. But as always, my friends, stay human, and I'll see you.